This is the core mobility, stability, strength sequence for the frontal plane. So what we're going to do is work muscles specifically referred to as the internal obliques, the external obliques, and the quadratus lumborum. The quadratus lumborum is a muscle that sits on your lower back, runs from your PSIS, or the top of your hip bone, up into your rib, just below your rib cage and on your thoracic spine. Okay. So what we're going to need to do here is we're going to get into a position that's side lying, but on a slight angle. So I'm going to be between those two places I referred to as, and just under my rib cage or under my thorax. Okay. So from this position, I'm going to roll slightly forward or backwards, looking for a spot that has like almost like a jabbing or stabbing sensation if there's a trigger point in it. Now, because it's activation, what I usually do is grab the foam roller and I move side to side. I'm trying to actually move gliding surfaces rather than just melt into that, which is fine for increasing range of motion, which sometimes can be beneficial. But if I'm trying to activate pre-workout, I tend to use more shifting, shearing, small motions up and down in order to be able to activate the nervous system. The Viper, which is the HyperIce product, has a vibratory mechanism in it and can be used in this exact position as well. Again, your job is just to move forward and backwards, find the spot, activate for 30 to 45 seconds, repeat on the other side. If there's multiple spots or locations, do so for every spot that feels like it needs a little extra care or love. That's step one. Step two, you need to stabilize the pattern. So we're going to use a side plank position, but where we use the adductor specifics. Okay, so I'm going to move this a little bit. So the way this sets up, this leg is forward or slightly backwards like this for support. The top leg is the leg doing all the work. Now the mistakes here are leave the hips bent, okay? So not fully extending through the hip, not having the foot fully engaged onto the floor, so pointing straight ahead, and or not using this leg for support. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna come up, straighten this knee for dear life, squeeze your glutes before you even lift, activate your bottom shoulder to lift your rib cage up nice and strong, lift your hip up, and this by itself is sufficient for most people. I can make it more difficult by bringing this leg forward as long as I don't see the bending action. So every time I go back down, squeeze the glute, activate the knee, engage the ground, lift up, and then eventually I can get to the point where I can lift this leg off the ground and keep everything nice and long and straight and really activate through the adductors. But that also strengthens that bottom QL. Very, very strong requirement of that bottom QL and top internal oblique, which is a great combo for the frontal plane. The last exercise, so strengthening requires more than just holding positions. Even though the last exercise is quite demanding, this one, we're gonna add load. So thank you to our friends from 360 Athletics who provided us with some of their line called CoreFX and some of the product that goes along with it. So we're gonna go into a sideline position, feet against the wall. So the way this works, adductor leg goes forward, so bottom leg forward, top leg back, sit directly on top of the ball. Shoulders perpendicular to the edge of the ball. Hold on to this at chest level. It can be more difficult if I reach the ball away from it. Create a longer lever. Set the shoulders, bring the ribs back towards the pelvis. Elbows up nice and high. Reach my elbows down till they touch the outside edge of the ball. Come right back up the vertical. Again, more difficult would be to press the ball out. And that's a significantly greater requirement out of the core. Strengthen according to 8 to 12 repetitions, moderate tempos, and things that are written in the table. That's your frontal plane mobility, stability, strength sequence.